In today's video, I'm going to take a look at the exhaust in my Model A. This is a car I purchased, I think around 10 years ago now, and it is exceptionally original. Obviously not restored, but very original, and it's actually running pretty well, and it's almost a daily driver. If it's not raining, I'll drive this quite often. So anyway, I've tried to keep it very original, and the patina is kind of like something that I kind of get a kick out of. It's just a very original car. Very little done to this over the years to dress it up, except that when I bought it, it did have the wheels powder coated this bright yellow. One thing that's not working so well, however, right now is there's an exhaust leak and the car is quite loud. In this car, the muffler, the exhaust pipe, everything from here at the end of the manifold all the way to the tailpipe is a single piece. It's not a drastically expensive replacement part, but I do try to avoid just putting things on just because. So I have an idea as to how to fix this exhaust leak without having to replace the entire muffler. So I pulled the clamp off the manifold, and it's clear that right here, that steel is broken, and that's what's causing our exhaust leak. So what I'm going to try is making a piece of copper to put around the tailpipe there, in the hopes that with that inside the clamp, inside this clamp that holds the whole piece together, that that it's going to seal it off. So I've got this scrap piece of copper pipe, and I'm going to use a pair of tin snips and see if I can cut it so that I'll have a sheet of copper. Copper is pretty soft, but I didn't think it was going to be this easy to cut it. So I've got this tube sliced up, and I'm starting to bang it out on this piece of steel with a ball peen hammer. I'm looking to kind of get this to be a flat sheet of copper. So now that I have this metal reasonably flat, I'm running up the edge here so that I can have reasonably straight edge. So I've tried to form this over the exhaust pipe to try to get the correct diameter, or at least close to it. I ended up with a kink. So what I'm going to try is form it over there with this hose clamp so that I can get a nice smooth bend. So I was able to get this into a fairly reasonable hoop using that pipe clamp, clamping it down onto the pipe. So I'm going to try just trimming it off here, because I don't want that overlap. So I've got this exhaust pipe supported underneath the car with a floor jack and this piece of copper wrapped around there. It doesn't quite offer enough room to get the clamp on easily, so I'm going to have to figure out how to get this preformed just a little bit so that I can get that pinched together there. So I've cut this loop in half, and using a screwdriver and a hammer, I'm trying to form it in here so that at least I can get that those two pieces together. Let's see how that works. So it looks like I'm going to have to trim a little bit off the top here if I'm going to get that clamp on. Well, that did the trick. Let's get that tightened up and see if we did any good. Well, it's not great, but it is a lot better. And I think that as I use the car, if I keep on tightening those bolts, that copper will start yielding into that spot better, and it'll get pretty good. Well, not a total success, but not a fail either. Well, actually, a total fail. So it seems that things were moving forward nicely with this exhaust repair. When I got into the car yesterday, and the whole front of the exhaust just kind of came off the manifold. This piece of copper was starting to form nicely around, around here, and it was getting quieter. But then, like I say, the whole thing kind of fell off, and I was thinking, well, this is probably not the best way to move forward. I mean, if that would have happened as I was driving down the road, I probably would have damaged a lot more than just this. So I'm going to try to give this another attempt. Just going to see if I can kind of like weld this piece complete. I'm going to start off by cutting a piece of steel off this bike frame. It seems to be about the same thickness as this steel here. So and it's already got a bit of a radius in it already, which I think might be helpful. As I hold the steel in here, it seems like the radius is okay, but I have to do some forming. I need to kind of clean up this bottom edge a little bit, I guess, and if I bend that around a bit, I think that I might be able to get that in there without too much fancy metal work. So my plan here is to weld just that one edge where it's touching there for starters, and to start seeing if I can form that, to try to make a continuous kind of a roll there, flange, whatever you want to call it, and then as I get it, then continue to trim and so forth. So I think that's the kind of fit that I'm after here. Messing around here, looks like there's another crack here, which I'll have to try to weld up a bit. But I'll go ahead and get this area all wire brushed up and see if I can get a bead right along this edge. So I was going to weld that crack and ended up burning straight through. So back to the drawing board. Looks like my original piece of steel is still going to fit just fine. Turn the current down on my welder and give it another try. I have this piece of steel welded in here, and looks like it's coming along okay. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this end here so that so I start to get my shape, at least as far as the weld goes. So I've kind of got this ground to rough shape, and I think I'm going to try to finish this weld here and see how that goes. So I got my tab welded in here, and it seems to be about the shape that I need. I'm going to go ahead and grind this this edge here smooth, and take care of that little protrusion there. See if I can get this weld ground down a little bit, and then I plan to get on the inside here and kind of clean up that edge with the Dremel. Actually, I won't be able to get my angle grinder in there. So I've got this ground down so the bracket sits in here, relatively flush. So I think it'll be close enough. I have a little spot here I think I'd like to get a little metal in, and there's also a little crack here. So I'll go ahead and fill those in, but I think that this has come out about as good as I could have expected. I've got that reasonably smooth, I think. So let's throw this on the car and see what we've got. Alright, so that's how it's supposed to sound. Finally a pass. So the camera didn't catch it so well. It really kind of sounds like the first attempt was just as good as the second attempt, but actually it's just that it was so loud that you really couldn't hear it. But in fact, I think that this is about as quiet as this car is ever going to get on the second attempt. The first attempt was certainly pretty loud. Thanks for watching my video. Have a great day, and leave any comments and suggestions or input in the comments below. Have a great day. Thanks.